Yes, now everyone's coming. We are going to start now. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, everyone, if you are another part of the world, and a warm welcome to our today's webinar. Who governs your AI agent? This is the main question of today, and you are going to have a cool discussion and a presentation from us. My name is Samir Aliyev. I'm the CEO of Swiss Cyber Institute, Academic Program Director at the University of St. Gallen. And thank you for taking 1 hour out of your day to be with us today. And I would like to introduce first our topic today, and then we will go through the introduction of our speaker and some house rules. Please let me set the scene briefly. In most organizations today that we speak with, the AI agents are already at work. They read emails, they query customer data, they touch screens, code repositories. They take actions across financial and operational systems, often with privileged access to the most critical parts of our businesses, of our data. And yet, and this is the uncomfortable part, these agents are rarely governed with the same rigor we apply to human users. No clear owners, no joint mover or layer process, no certification cycle, limited real-time control over what they can and what they cannot. The classic identity governance question: who has access to what, when, why, and how? Now needs a new answer for those new class of identity. The non-human one. Yes, today then Savint's own CISO AI risk report this year shows that 90% of organizations says they are working on AI governance, but 62% finds it difficult, and 28% describes the challenge as severe. And saying that, I would like to mention that there's a gap here we are to address today. For a quick note before we begin with our presentation, I would like to share some housekeeping rules. The session will run until 4 p.m. or 16 o'clock, and Joseph will present for the measures of the hour, and we will close with open question and answers Q&A session. Please drop your question into the Q&A button in the box in the Zoom at any point, and I will get as many as we can at the end. The session is being recorded, and we will share materials afterward. And I did housekeeping rules, then it's time to introduce my speaker today. I'm pleased to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Joseph Nemecek. Joseph is a field CTO for South and Central Europe at Savint, a global leader in identity governance and administration. He brings more than 25 years of experience across Savint, SailPoint, Oracle, and BearingPoint, advising global enterprises and the executive team on securing human and machine identities in complex cloud environments. Today, Joseph will walk us through the executive control framework an organization needs to govern autonomous AI safely and at scale, from discovery to lifecycle governance to runtime authentication, policy enforcement, and what he describes as the next REST API moment, the rise of the MCP and what it means for your security posture. This session is international focus on framing the strategic problem and establishing the governance model. The conversation will continue this September at our Global Cyber Conference at Dolder Grant 2026 at the Roundtable, where we will go deeper into implementation realities and lessons from enterprise adaptation. So that's from my side, introducing our topic and speakers, and I would like to hand over the session to Joseph. With that, Joseph, over to you.
Thank you very much, Samir, for my introduction. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this webinar. I certainly hope that it won't be too boring for you, because we are living in very exciting times with very exciting changes. And so I would like to start with sharing my presentation. So I think
Yes, please.
now you should see the presentation,
Yes,
isn't it?
we see it.
Excellent. So we already started with the topic. So the most powerful identity isn't human anymore, it's agents. And the question is, the agents are actually more efficient, more reckless, faster than human identities. So the question is, who is actually governing your AI agents? So for decades, the mantra of IGA was ensure that the right people have the right access to the right resources and at the right time for the right reason. We have created a virtual clone of the employees. We called it identity, and we linked all his access to this avatar. We defined roles, assigned them on request, approved or rejected those requests, created segregation of duty and other policies. When we found out that this concept does not work for those people not managed by HR, we extended this model for the external identities with a delegation of responsibility, identity proofing, forms, and workflows. We trained the people to be security aware, not to share accounts or passwords, to behave responsibly, secure processes, and protect data. Zero trust, least privilege, need to know, no standing privileges, privileged access management, just-in-time access. And just as the security teams thought that they have everything under control, AI hit mankind. So every user now can create little clones of himself and engage him as a personal assistant, processing mails, summarizing or translating documents, researching and creating presentations, as I do, analyzing spreadsheets, create LLMs to integrate with core enterprise IT systems. So everybody can interact using conversational bots instead of their complex UI or cryptic API. We learn not to share credentials with anyone, to behave within our guardrails, not to misuse our power. And now we are handing over the keys to a bunch of minions that have vague instructions what to do with no conscience, no causing nightmares. It's a race between innovation and governance, and security is seen as an obstacle. When we are discussing agentic AI with our customers and their current situation and journey, we almost always get the same answer. They are, on one hand, pushed by the board to allow innovation through agentic AI, and on the other hand, to make sure that no AI-based incident can happen. Add novelty, curiosity, lack of awareness, and many more into the equation, you may end up like parents that handed over their house keys to their teenagers and have a party with their friends. Security teams are mostly worried that they do not really know how AI is used in their enterprises. Cloud-based frameworks are usually siloed, so you must regularly log into their individual consoles to find out who has created an agent, and even then, you do not know what they are doing, what models and tools they use, what credentials they use to connect to other agents, MCP servers, tools, and APIs, which capabilities they use and have, and how to govern the access from a modern IGA perspective. Almost everyone can create or use agents, install frameworks locally, use AI-based websites, and the like. Developers like to create software with minimal security features to accelerate innovation, using administrative accounts or private user credentials or tokens, hard-coded into configuration files. They promise to add security later, but they forget, neglect, or just don't care. Together with the autonomous nature of agents, they learn new capabilities after each API update, prompt, task, explore the possibilities, and perform actions they were not supposed to do, although they were told not to. and agents can act faster and change quickly. It's like herding cats or a bag of fleas. All this adds to the risk of an incident or breach or catastrophic failure on enterprise level. Last year, Savient asked an analyst company to conduct a survey about AI in enterprises. This led to the creation of the CISO AI risk report. It is available to you at no cost, just a click away. For this report, we asked hundreds of security leaders at companies in the US and UK. This QR code leads you to the location where you can download the report, and I will present the QR code later again. In addition to the US and UK version, we created the same report as well for Germany with 100 leaders. Interestingly, some of the results are quite similar, but sometimes there are significant differences worth being noted. So one of the questions was, are formal policies such as ISO EAC 4201 or OWASP Top 10 in place and enforced? And surprisingly, only half have at least a limited AI governance in place. The other half either have only drafts or nothing at all. In Germany, it seems that they are a little bit more optimistic, where more than 80% think that they are almost fine. Either they are more eager in governance and bureaucracy and have everything under control by potentially having AI ist verboten as a policy, or they do not know what they do not know. Slightly more than 1/3 think that they can detect and contain AI misuse. More than half are not very confident to do so. This indicates that they cannot reliably detect AI agents and credentials they use, or the activity they do. In Germany, it seems that they are either very well equipped or highly overconfident, since 90% believe that they can detect and contain AI misuse. Is it possible that they underestimate the risk of shadow AI and AI misuse? In another question, we asked about their visibility into AI agent use. And almost 80% of the companies complained that they have limited or minimal visibility. All thought this very limited visibility, a large majority of companies already have detected shadow AI, unsanctioned or unauthorized AI tools. And in Germany, it is at least as bad. Although this limited visibility, about half of the companies think that they have already experienced an AI incident. Again, German is a little bit more confident about this. A good KPI for AI governance, at least for the current moment, is the question if agents are managed as identities or as good as human identities. This means that there is a lifecycle management, a join, a move, a leave process, access requests, certifications, least privilege, segregation of duties, and the like. Manage agents as close of the owning or invoking identity as possible. That's the point here. But be aware that agents may work 24 hours a day, learn new stuff, make autonomous decisions, are iterative, disruptive, self-modifying. So it is a good but not the best approach to manage agents. In Germany, again, there is a higher confidence. I do not know if this is justified, since discussions with companies, when we discussed this topic with companies, they are aware that there is an important lack of confidence, since agents require monitoring or even what we would call micromanagement. Being an IGA specialist, this is a very sad slide. Only about 1/3 of the companies protect their IT core systems using IGA. But at least we see that 2/3 are covering at least half of their systems using IGA. In Germany, it looks even worse. The question is in general, why are the most critical IT systems not fully covered by IGA? Most likely, it's a secret, especially when understood that most agents are interacting with those core enterprise systems like SAP, Salesforce, ServiceNow, etc. When asking about the confidence that the core enterprise IT systems are well protected against agentic AI misuse, we see the sweat drops on the foreheads, because only a small minority indeed is confident. It looks like in Germany it is a little bit better, but they are also very concerned that AI agents have access to systems that may create disruptions or incidents. When we asked about the number one priority for the next years, we see a strong focus on security, AI, efficiency, and transformation. Securing AI while using it for innovation. In Germany, it's similar, but it seems that there is still some effort of moving IT into the cloud. Also interesting question was, under the assumption of no budget restraints, where are you going to invest your next money? The interesting observation is that security posture, AI support and security, and automated or unified IGA are core focus areas of half of the panel. Discovery and visibility, we see, is more a topic in the US and UK. And the powerful IGA, is one of the most important topics for Germany, now visible as the brown bars next to the blue bars. Well, coming back to the concerns at the beginning and how to address them, 3 fundamental questions should be asked. Can I really find all the AI that has access to my IT systems, especially my core IT applications such as ERP and CRM? What about the unstructured data that is analyzed by agents created by my employees on their laptops? All the no-code and low-code agents created in our cloud platforms and SaaS software. Then, can I govern it like a separate identity type? Do I know what credentials the agents use and access my systems? Can I detect or manage its creation, manage its access, as I can with employees and external people? Through access requests, certifications, adding and removing access through the IGA system. What about ownership? What about metadata management? And finally, can I manage it at runtime? Since agents can operate at the speed of light, calling hundreds of API functions, gathering data, writing data, triggering actions. Can I guarantee that agents do what they should be doing, not getting wild if they receive unexpected access through an updated API, through tokens that also manage production systems? Do you remember Pocket OS? A coding agent encountered a credential mismatch and decided to delete the production database using an outdated API. Within 9 seconds, the code base was gone, together with the backups. The agent knew it was doing bad things, admitted it later when asked, but it did it anyway. With a 3-month-old backup, most likely stored at home of somebody violating policies, the company was operational again. What if an agent accidentally wipes one of your databases, provides personal information to people outside HR, allows trading securities, violates SOD policies without your knowledge, uses privileged accounts for ease of development after it went into production? So when we are talking with customers about the capabilities needed for an AGI platform to manage agentic AI, AGI platform to manage AI, we find that they always ask about visibility. They do not know what is running on their systems. So it is no surprise that it is also one of our first priorities to find all agentic AI use inside the network. And it doesn't matter if it is running on local machines, if it is running in the cloud, or if it is running inside the SaaS solutions. We are very happy that we have a data lake created for advanced analytics more than a year ago that we can use to integrate all this information into one platform. And no matter what platform you are using, I think that the first thing is to integrate with the platforms that are providing agentic AI to gather all the information, get all the metadata, and to gather all the access that the systems have. This list that I have on this screen with the mushroom shows exactly what looking for mushrooms basically means. Either you know where they are, or somebody has told you where to find them. When we are asking the platforms from AWS, Microsoft, Google, ServiceNow, Salesforce, they can tell you what the agents are. They can tell you who created it. They can provide you quite a lot of metadata to assign these workloads to certain people to know what access they are using. Then the second step is to detect local AI capabilities, local LLMs installed on laptops, servers, virtual machines. It is either necessary to detect it on your own by policy or by using the endpoint security systems. And that's actually what we are doing. We are connecting to soft platforms like CrowdStrike, Wiz, or even for Microsoft to get access to the applications installed on local machines, to get the CPU and memory loads of applications so we know that somebody is using LLMs or any tools, AI-based tools on their laptops. And not to forget, one topic that's missing on this slide is also to detect the use of AI tools through the browser. So having some kind of a plugin in the browser that detects that somebody's using ChatGPT, Grok, or any other tools that allow uploading documents, breaking rules, and making analysis of this data based on agentic AI on other platforms as well. So this is about visibility. And I think that visibility resolves already quite a lot of problems. At least you know where the problems are, because before you didn't. And even if you have inhibited the use of AI by this verboten policy, we have customers who actually went this way and at a later time found out that they have hundreds of agents running on their systems, all thought it's not allowed to. So the second step would be, how do we create governance over these agents? All thought we can't govern the agents directly as we found them because you can use the other platforms to create them. We can support to enforce policies and best practices at customer sites. So if you have some kind of a mechanism that make it easy to create an agentic AI identity, to request access for an agent, so you don't have to provide the same credentials as the user has to the agent, to limit its access, to limit it, for example, for read-only for a one agent and to modification rights for another agent, having two different agent identities linked to the same user, you can reduce the blast radius of any incident or of problems. So the point of governance is to create some kind of a mechanism where you can request an agent identity in a similar way as you can request to add an employee or an external employee. So having an API or a form is one step. The API, of course, helps you having it in a pipeline for deployment. And this then allows you to have specified separate accounts for these agents. So if an agent goes wild, you can turn off the access of the agent and don't have to turn off the access of the employee who actually has created this agent. With this registration, of course, we have the whole join, remove, or leave it process. You can request access for this agent, specifically for that tasks that this agent has to do, removing access that is not necessary. You have the mover process if the agent receives new tasks or additional tasks, and you have a leaver process when this agent is going to be removed from the pool. Of course, we have access requests and certifications to add or remove entitlements. You have segregation of duties, so you can make sure that your agent or your orchestrated pool of agents does not create SOD violation. You can request access to an agent for users. So user can use an agent that actually continue to use other MCP servers or agents for executing the tasks. And one important part is also a segregation of duty check of the users and the agents at the same time, because by accessing an agent, it's possible that you create the SOD violation, because then an agent can execute something for that user that he shouldn't do himself. So you have multi-layered SOD policies available in your environment. And important also for the posture management part is to have a register, to have a inventory of agents, to see what the agents can access, who has access to the agents. So you can have a timeline of when an agent has been created, when the access has changed, and when the agent has left the building. We are using trust scores, so we know to what privileged information, to privileged systems and roles an agent has access to. And it is also important to detect if the agent is used. So if an agent is not used anymore, that you can remove it automatically, like a license that is not used by the employees. And the last part is probably the most innovative and the most important part. It is the question of real-time monitoring. When we are talking about agents, they are learning new things. You are providing information to the agents what to do. And as a software engineer myself, I know that the most important and the most flawed process is requirements engineering, defining exactly what software should do and how it should do it. And if engineers have problems defining exactly the purpose of software, defining the requirements of a piece of software, don't expect that from the average user, that he can precisely define what an agent should do. Expect ambiguity, expect mistakes, expect that the agent learns new things, or that he just drops any orders and does what he wants. And that's just for the on a positive side. And then, of course, you have problems like, for example, poisoning of information, poisoning of prompts, injections into prompts. So bad actors that can misuse the whole AI infrastructure available for users at the customer side. So what is also needed is a component that at real time is able to monitor the MCP servers, monitor the agents, make sure that they cannot use parts of an API that are dangerous for the functioning of the enterprise. Like, for example, defining guardrails, defining a policy, enforcing the policy. At best, by using natural language instead of some kind of a weird query language that sometimes systems are using. Making sure that every agent and every MCP server is using the identity token. So when you have a delegation or an impersonation of an agent, that the information what user is asking or requesting a process or requesting data, that this is always known to the target system. So information and actions are being restricted to what this user indeed can do, or even restricted further by enforcing the guardrails and policies in the agent environment. So it is analysis of the intent, and the other important part is enforcing of the guardrails. So making sure that agents are doing what they should do and cannot do things that they shouldn't, intentionally or accidentally. This and the next slide is something that I have stolen from a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, that will be most likely in September at the event in Zurich from Enrique Teixeira. He actually pointed out that there are five megatrends. I just stole two of them. So one is the model context protocol servers. So the question is what it actually means and what kind of actions does it require from the cybersecurity teams. If you thought that APIs, REST-based APIs, could impose problems, you can create an agent that sits in front of an API. And then by natural language, you can start workflows, you can start processes, you can create a series of API calls. And of course, then the question is, how are you governing the use of this MCP server? How are you governing the use of the API on the backend? So when we're writing that 3 months is a legacy, just think about that APIs, especially at SaaS solutions, can change every day, add new functionality. And then the MCP server is allowing actions that you didn't think about when you have created this agent. So it is important to have a clear authentication and a clear authorization layer around this MCP service. So you have to move fast and govern now, so you are not sorry at a later time. So using efficient authentication and authorization mechanisms that are ready for the agentic AI moment that we are living now. And the second thing that I have stolen is the governance of AI. So AI introduces new identity, access, and data security challenges from prompt injection to LLM poisoning, as we have seen before. So the AI governance platforms with data security, posture management, and intent-based authentication will become a critical control, no matter on which platform, with what tools you are using. And non-human identity lifecycle management must be backed in from the start, because AI agents are usually using service accounts and are not supposed to use the credentials provided by the user or by the creator of the agents. So it is important to request the IGA platform to also cover AI capabilities, agentic AI, and not only from a passive IGA perspective, but also from an active monitoring, real-time monitoring perspective. Many organizations are working on AI governance, and we think that they are actually rising towards 80 to 90%, and they're already using AI. So it's important to have a solution that is ready and at least to have visibility into these AI troubles that you can get into. So you have a solution at hand that can help you resolving this invisibility of the AI danger that we are running into. And with this, I'm actually at the end of my short presentation. I hope that I am almost in time, so we can open the channel for questions and further
Yes,
discussion.
thank you. Thank you very much, yourself. It was really very insightful and technical. For the people that who understand what you are talking was really successful event. Happy to have you with us. Now it's time for questions, maybe. Now we can get some questions from our audience. Please use the Q&A button. Ask your question to Dr. Joseph, and we will be very happy to answer all of them. But before that, I would like to ask some question for you that I made in notes for me. And your report shows that 90% of organizations says they are working on AI governance, and only 28% describes the challenges are severe. When you talk to the CEOs across the Europe with your clients or not clients, what's the single biggest reason this gap is so hard to close? Is it technology, ownership, executive awareness, or regulatory requirements? What's the biggest reason for this gap?
Interestingly, AI is a topic that is already available about 40, 50 years ago. I can remember that AI is something that evolved in the 80s and 90s. I can remember that we have topics at the university to be able to study these things. And what we actually are experiencing is, on one hand, it's the so-called two-elephant problem. So imagine having two elephants with a blanket over it, and one
Yes.
elephant is the effort of in research, and the other effort is the adoption by the market. And somewhere in between, you have the standardization and the security and governance people. And with the current developments in adopting technology quicker and quicker, the two elephants are standing closer and closer to each other and are squeezing the people in between. So you don't have the standardization, governance, and security in this environment that actually we are talking, no matter if it is AI or if it is mobile, internet or SaaS security. And this is something that happened. So there is a lack of tools. There is a lack of tools for governing AI and agentic AI especially. And the panic is real because if you don't know, if you don't know what you don't know, so you don't know
Yes.
how deep the problems indeed are. You have siloed information. You have many platforms that you have to have under control all the time. Agents can just pop up and remove and disappear, and all these
Yes.
things make it very hard to do it in a passive, in a batch-oriented way. So you need something on a real-time level. And unfortunately, most environments actually either miss the real-time visibility or the holistic view of agentic AI used inside the company. And one thing is having it under control in the tenants of the enterprise. With the rise of bring your own device and shadow software, where actually every user can subscribe to AWS and create an agent there, and then somehow giving access to systems. That's then the next step that actually is important to make sure to catch all use of AI, even if it is not within the enterprise.
Joseph, you said that we don't have proper clear view. And do you think that companies, they also know about this before they implement AI agents and expose them to the risks that agents will bring to their organization? Or they just do it because it's hype, it is less go to flow, because our competitor has agents, let's also do agents.
On one hand, I think every user in today's time, every employee is under pressure to be as efficient as possible. So he looks for ways how to be more efficient. And with the possibility, with the tools available of creating no-code or low-code agents, uh, it is very simple to create an assistant, a mini-me, a minion who is actually doing my work, and they probably are not aware about the risk that they are putting themselves into. As long as you have the impersonation, the delegation part, actually your agent is acting on your behalf, then it's a little bit contained. But the more powerful your access is into system, the more privileged the access is that you in your system, and the less knowledgeable you are about containing the agent into what he's doing, the more in danger you are, because then your agent is doing on your behalf things that you wouldn't do
Yes.
in first place. So it is a lack of awareness about security,
Hmm.
about their own capabilities, and a little bit lack of awareness what an agent really can do. It's, as I said, it's like handing over the keys, the car keys to your kid. You know, if you love your car, you probably won't do it, or you will be sitting in the chair next door, and actually, or in the not in the driver's seat, but actually next to it, so you can intervene with something. And that's probably the
Hmm.
point where security teams are today. So they are handing
Hmm.
over the keys to their users to be able to create agents, to be innovative, because there is also push
Hmm.
from the board.
Hmm.
But at the same
From the
time,
platform
you have to
management.
make sure that nothing can be done incorrectly.
Hmm. Great. Let me ask you my second question. The discovery problem. You list 10 major platforms where AI agents are being spun up: Copilot, Vertex, Agentforce, ServiceNow, SAP, and others. For a CISO listening today who suspects they already have shadow agents in production, what are the first three places you would tell them to look at this week to get visibility on this shadow AIs?
Well, first about visibility is the first thing, so you actually know what agents are running. And
Hmm.
then actually at the current moment, because the platforms sometimes they cannot provide us the information what access they are using. Only
Hmm.
Copilot, for example, allows us to cycle the token.
Hmm.
The other platforms, we have to detect their intent, we have to detect the access that they have, and they are sometimes even hard-coded in configuration files. You know, just imagine a configuration file with your username and password in it.
Yes.
So this is a very important part. At the moment, it would mean that you have to get a stick and walk to the owner of this agent and to ask him to go the proper way. And of course, if you have a document that describes how to correctly create an agent identity, how to request an agent identity, how to use the platform to request access, to have the right access for this specific agent that has been created. Such kind of a policy is of course helping, and so you don't are forced to walk with a stick in your hands again and again to the same user, telling him how to
Hmm.
create correctly a user that has the right access to the
Hmm.
functionality. But of
Yeah.
course, over time, we expect that more and more we'll be using some kind of an API to register an agent
Yes.
upfront, and then to have the right access at the beginning.
Hmm. We have one question from, actually, now we have another questions as well. How can organization enable AI productivity without losing control over sensitive data?
Well, the first
Million
thing
dollar question.
I see that is a question of Alexander Hindria. Um, Oksana, sorry. Well, first of all, you have to detect sensitive data. So you have to do some kind of a categorization of the data that you have access to. So files, databases, and so on. Um, One way, of course, is to have some kind of a software, of a system that is analyzing the files, analyzing the folders, so you know where these things are happening. The most advanced IGA platforms, for example, they use some kind of a categorization tool, categorization software, So you know which access right, which role, which entitlement gives access to what kind of information. And then, of course, if you are requesting access or if you are certifying access, you can see that, okay, this entitlement, this role gives access to person identifying information. So the question is, does somebody from finance, does somebody from development needs access to this HR kind of data? So you can manage that already on the access request or certification side, or you can go check which file actually contains this information, and then you can ask, does this file need to be there? So you can do all kind of high data hygiene, file hygiene activities on this thing. And the same thing, of course, is if AI is accessing this kind of data, the AI agent, they need some kind of credentials to access the files. In the best case, it's a agentic identity. In the mid-range area, actually, it is the access rights of the owner or of the
Yes.
user of the agent. And in the worst case, it's a
Yes.
service account, an administrative account that actually has access to everything. But with these fine-grained controls, you can actually turn off access or enable access to this kind of information.
Yeah. Very valuable. Thanks. Joseph, there another question. Does Vinti provide the means to discover all agents, including agents from SaaS solutions, to govern and control the AI agents? Do you have kind
Very
of
short
solution to
answer.
discover them?
Very short answer. Yes. At least that's our plan until the end of this year. So we are already having integrations with Microsoft, AWS, Google, SailPoint, not SailPoint, Salesforce, and ServiceNow. And of course,
And what about the
all
HubSpot?
that's basically the hotspot of what we can see because Bedrock and Copilot, Agent
Hmm.
365,
Yeah.
that's the most things that we can actually see. What we can also
Okay.
see in Europe are agents running on Salesforce, so the Agent Force
Hmm.
part, and there's the same thing that we can detect the use of agents,
Yeah.
and then of course enforce also the correct IGA approach to these agents.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Another question. What are the companies currently underestimating the most when it comes to the secure deployment of the AI agents? Most probably you already answered during your presentation, but you might repeat it one more time.
Well, we see that actually some companies are very aware of these things, and it's probably not a company problem. It's probably more a question about the industries they're in. So, of course, everything that is in Germany about kritis, so all the companies that are critical because they are in logistics, power, water, all these companies, they actually are forced by law to have some kind of an IGA-based agentic AI governance. So they are indeed at the forefront. And of course, there are other companies that actually are already at the limit of their capabilities because they have a very complex security environments. Let's say healthcare. They already
Yes.
have issues with the persona concept, where the same person is working Monday, Tuesday in one department and Thursday, Friday on another department. That actually would create some kind of SOD violation. But because it is just as it is, you have to live with it. And agentic AI, of course, optimizing medical use or optimizing the time planning of the employees is something that is very helpful. But at the same
Hmm.
time, if they are using agents that have access to HR and they are providing information that they shouldn't have, of course, then the user of those agents can actually get information that they are not allowed to. I would like to use
Hmm.
one example in this case. Um, we have talked to companies that, for example, need to protect pregnant women and people below the age of 18 from certain tasks. and certain activities and access to certain areas and software. So somewhere we have to have the information about the health status, age, and pregnancy. You don't want to have this spread around in your company because this is very, very personal information. So it's the question if you want to provide it to the IGA system. There, of course, you have to. But then you have to ask how can you protect this information from the agent? Because if I can ask, oh, give me all the pregnant women, give me all the
Yes.
identities that are below 18, then you actually should receive a message that you are not allowed to get this information except if you are in HR. And that's the
Hmm.
reason why it's important to have this identity token always in the communication so the target system knows about it. And if the target system still returns this information, the runtime module, the access gateway, how we call it, comes into place and stops this communication.
Hmm. One more question we will have, or a couple of more, but we have very limited time. Let's go a little bit quicker here. The AI governance is very slow compared to the AI deployment. For an organization who have a lot of agents already deployed, what advice or strategy can you offer for the board to the board to address their current situation to bring the security posture in line with their appetite, or most probably a risk appetite?
The first thing actually is visibility. Get
Mm-hmm.
get tools that give you visibility into the agentic process, into the agents that are actually in use. I do not want to make too much advertisement for the company I work for, but they are quite powerful tools. And also our tool is available as a standalone solution for this agentic AI part. So it's not necessary just for saving the IGA users, but also for companies that are using different platform because we can ingest the identities,
Mm-hmm.
we can detect the agents.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is that the parts that we can actually manage as an integrated solution is then manual work or some kind of a ticket that actually has to be created on those platforms that actually are not integrated with us. But there are
Yeah.
also there's a competition, of course. There are many companies in this
Sure.
area, and it makes sense to have a solution that is as close as possible to your own IGA solution,
Mm-hmm.
or to use a tool that can work well with the IGA solution that you have. Because at the end,
Perfect.
it's an identity problem.
Yeah. When we talk
And
about the identity
security,
problem,
okay, and just one thing,
yes,
security
please go
is
ahead.
always running behind. So there's
Yes.
no way that actually you can catch up. You can just, you have just to get the power extinguisher just to make sure that actually you can
Mm-hmm.
resolve the issues before they
Mm-hmm.
become problems.
Yeah. Joseph, I'm going to have a final question, then most probably after that we will close the session. But to our audience, if you have a further question, you can always reach out to Dr. Joseph. You will also get a copy of the slides later on, and he most probably you will be happy to answer the questions via email or I don't know, LinkedIn messages, anything.
My
My
email is,
question,
yeah, okay, because my email is on the slide deck, so you can contact me
yes,
either
that's
directly or
why.
using LinkedIn.
Yeah. You made a very strong case for applying joiner, mover, and deliver to AI agents in the same way we do for the humans, right? But the agents don't have the HR records, managers, and notice period. Practically speaking, who in the organization should own an AI agent's lifecycle? Is the developer who built it, or the business owner who use it, or security team? Who keeps them under control?
The good thing is that actually you have a company has to create some kind of a policy to govern these things. But the agents, they should have always, an agent should probably be like in a matrix organization. This means that they should have a technical owner and a business owner. So the business owner who is responsible for what the agent is doing with the intent, with the description of the context of the model and so on, and a technical owner that is responsible for the guardrails, for the tokens, and so on. And it's important to have some kind of a successor management.
Mhm.
So if the owner is going away or the technical owner is going away, there is always somebody responsible for the agent if something like this happens. And the same thing during discovery. If you discover an agent, you have to automatically assign an owner, and he makes sure that the ownership is then being relegated to somebody who really can take care of these things, similar to the external workers, where you have a delegation of responsibility down to the place who can take the responsibility, because HR, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that was very interesting session. It was a little bit technical, but it was interesting for our audience that we have still people are here. But we are coming to the end of our conversation. I would like to thank you to you, Joseph. I know you spent a lot of time for the slides, the data that you are going to share. It was a pleasure, and we are also happy to have Savinte as our partner at the Global Cyber Conference, which is going to be the fifth edition this year. And looking forward to welcome you at the Dolder on the 1st and 2nd of September, having a roundtable deep dive discussion connection. And yep, we are going to have a very cool deep dive conversation on these topics further and further and further. It's not only one time things that we will solve. Saying that, I would like to leave the stage to you for just one sentence. What you advise to our audience right now as a takeaway?
Start today.
Good
Thank you very
point.
much.
Thank you very much,
The
Joseph,
pleasure
and
was
have a
mine.
lovely afternoon. And thanks a lot to our attendees and our audience. Thanks for being us. We being here all the 60 minutes, and you will receive the slides, and you will receive also the recording from us. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye, everyone.